Alright, Shalom. Shmak. I want to start off by giving all honor, praise, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakdash, Masha Nakabah, Lazaquin, Sha'al Gadar Rakah, which is given them honor to the elder apostle, great male son, who will teach well. And just getting right into it. The lesson gonna be named Consider the Lord, you know. As far as like considering the Lord and afflictions and considering the Lord, in our daily life, being consistent with fearing how Bashmi Ashai and keeping them on our mind. Because in this world, it's pretty much everything is inspired by wickedness, so you don't see Bashmi Ashai here. The food is it's a gluttony demon inside of the industry. You know what I mean? Like business is based upon, meats, and eating and sex and and homosexuality and all. This is a thing that the world promotes. All this lawlessness is promoted by the world. So you don't see Bashmi Shah being projected in the same light as if you would see, some type of cheeseburger or something being projected into the earth, as light into the earth. You know what I mean? Because this world make eating a cheeseburger, or being gay, he'll make that something like that glorious on the side, just due to the illumination power that was given unto him. TVs and cell phones and all these things that is used to project that type of image. And so Yahweh Shema Shah is not, he not in this world. He don't deal with this world. He not being exalted. You got wickedness being exalted. And so, with that being said, us being exposed to this type of illumination of wickedness every day, it could take a toll on our spirit. It could make us weary. It could make us weak. You know what I mean? It could make us, it could try to mess with our conscience, unknowingly, because we see these things every day, so that's why we have to continue to consider the Lord in our minds, consider the Lord in our in our spirit, considering that He exists, considering it's something that we should be doing for Him, considering, that He put us on this earth for a purpose. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, just to help, brothers stay in the spirit and be ready for the coming of Yahushua. This book of Luke, chapter 9, verse 58, it says, "And Yahushua said unto him, Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man have not where to lay his head." Right, because the world is filled with wickedness. So the Lord, He can't dwell here. Which we know that Yahweh is in everything. We know that Yahweh Shah is in everything because it's just a spirit. But He pretty much, He not in His world, man. He had to find Yahweh Shah through, His calling and through, Him having mercy. You see? It says, "And birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man have not where to lay his head." And so also that was a part of His affliction. When Yahushua was on the earth, he didn't have it like that. He was a poor man. So we got to consider that as well. Brothers dealing with stuff financially and stuff like that. You got to consider that Yahushua was poor. You know what I mean? So, not to say that, we shouldn't, do things like work and stuff like that, go to work and stuff like that, but just consider that Yahushua was a poor man when He was on the earth. This was on the book of Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 2. And it says, "Looking unto Yahushua, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before Him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Yahweh Shem Shah, right? So it's a looking unto Yahweh, the author and finisher of our faith, who for joy was set before endured the cross. So that's another thing, enduring. Because sometimes you find yourself in sticky situations, and where it might look like you ain't no deliverance from that situation. But even in those times, you gotta consider the Lord because it's all affliction. In times like that, the Lord is sending a rod of affliction. You gotta know that. Um, this is verse 12. It says, "Wherefore lift up the hands, which hang down, and the feeble knees." Right. So we gotta put out that weak nature as well. Because at the end of the day, Yahushua did finish his course. He overcame wickedness, man. He overcame that. So we can do the same thing. The Lord's willing to lead those men that's gonna do the same thing, which is overcome the flesh. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, and verse. I could have kept it up. Sorry. This book of Hebrews, chapter 12, and verse 3. It says, "For consider him that endures such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest he be wearied and faint in your minds." Right. It says, "Consider him." Right. Considering the Lord, consider him that endures such contradiction. And when you go into that word contradiction, it says objection. It says opposition, hostility. Right? We got all this opposition and hostility going against us. Even our own people. You see, right next to all of the wickedness that's being promoted and blasphemy that's being promoted. You know what I mean? Which is further from the truth. Like for example, Esau manipulating the words that was written in the scriptures and telling people this is this. We got all this going against us, but we know that Yahweh Shem Shah, he already gonna give us the victory if we can, if the men who take hold on hope and faith. It said this book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Right, and hold on, let's go back to that Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 13. It says, "For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest he be weary and faint in your minds." Right, so we have to continue to consider the Lord every moment, so that we don't faint, because once again, all wickedness is just being promoted. There's nothing good being promoted in this day and age, huh? In this eon, in this world, which is Esau's world. So that can bug you out if you don't consider that it is hope. That you don't consider that it is the Lord who is in control. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 13. "There have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But Yahweh Shem Shah is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it." Right. So with each tribulation or whatever that comes into our lives, the Lord put that there, but he ain't gonna overwhelm us with it. We're not gonna be overwhelmed with that. So that's another thing to consider. No matter how harsh the situation is that you going through, you might be on your deathbed, but you got to consider the Lord is merciful. You see, the Lord is merciful. This book of Romans chapter 12 and verse. This book of Romans chapter 12 and verse. Let's start at 3. It says, "For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according to as Yahweh Shah have dealt to every man the measure of faith." And that's another reason to consider the Lord. Because as going through these afflictions, you have to consider that the Lord, once again, it said that he suffered such contradiction of sinners against himself. It said that he suffered, he pretty much was crucified, so, and now that's our big brother, so keep in mind, like, it's another brother that's out there catching more hell, dealing with more shit, and the Lord still got mercy on him, and not every brother had the same office, so not to compare or nothing like that, but, you know, it's just about, keeping it pushing, and moving on with every step going into, this walk, man. It's just about keeping it pushing, rolling with the punches. Because like Apostle Kabar had mentioned, this ministry, it's not just it's not just group. It's a ministry of suffering as well. That's part of this ministry is suffering. And so we do that. We got to continue to do it joyfully. We got to continue to suffer joyfully, man. And keep hoping that Yahushua gonna come back soon. It says, well, that's pretty much it on that one. I'm gonna close out with this one. You read this already, but I'm gonna close out with it. This book of Luke chapter 9, verse 58. Well, actually, no, I'm tripping. Let me see. Actually, we're gonna close out with verse 4 of Romans chapter 12. It says, "For as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office." So, right, we all a part of the body of Yahushua. It says, so we, being many, are one body in Yahushua, the Spirit, and every one members one of another. It says, I'll go down, let me see. Verse 12, it says, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer. And that's pretty much it on that.